The story begins by showing a very old house. Inside the house lived an elderly woman, who was cautiously approaching a strange-looking box, filled with fear. The woman had no idea what was inside the box, but she felt as if something unknown inside it was trying to harm her. As soon as the elderly woman touched the box, she suddenly felt an itch on her head and noticed all her hair falling off into her hands. This made her believe that these strange occurrences were somehow caused by the box. She then tried to break the box using a stick, but suddenly froze in her tracks. Her face started changing on its own, as though someone else was controlling her. The old woman fell hard onto the floor, breaking her bones. It seemed that an evil spirit, related to the mysterious box, had possessed her. Her condition worsened to the point where she couldn't even move, and there was no one around to help her. A little while later, a man appeared at her door, asking for permission to enter. This man turned out to be her son, who had no idea what was happening to his mother. On the other hand, we are introduced to a man named Clyde, who had recently divorced his wife, Stephanie. Stephanie had moved on and remarried, but they shared 2 children, Emily and Emma. Despite the divorce, Clyde remained their father and occasionally visited them. Clyde planned to take his daughters to a park for some fun, and they seemed very excited. Emily and Emma were playful and persistent. They wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. While exploring the park, the 3 of them came across a house selling items at a low price. They started browsing, and Emily's attention was drawn to a very attractive-looking box, the same box that was shown at the beginning of the story. Emily insisted to her father that they should buy it. And so, the mysterious events around the box were about to unfold further. Without much thought, Emily's father purchased the box at a low price. Unbeknownst to them, the elderly woman from earlier, now wrapped in multiple bandages and in critical condition, was watching the entire scene from inside the house. The moment she saw Emily holding the cursed box, she began to scream, catching Emily's attention. Ignoring the woman's screams, Emily left with her father and brought the box home. Back at home, Clyde and Emily tried to open the box, but it wouldn't budge. There was no visible lock on it. However, it was clear something was inside, as faint noises could be heard coming from it. During this time, Clyde received a call from his university. A professor, Clyde was thrilled to learn he was being considered for a promotion. That night, as Emily lay in her room, she suddenly heard noises coming from the box. Curious about what might be inside, she sat on her bed and attempted to open it again. Shockingly, this time, the box opened. Inside, Emily found several strange items: a ring, a dead insect, a peculiar toy, and a tooth that didn't seem to belong to a human. Without giving it much thought, Emily slipped the ring onto her finger and went to sleep with the box still on her bed. The next morning, Emily's behavior began to change. She seemed unusually gloomy and started smiling in an unsettling manner. Over time, her aggression became apparent. She kept hearing noises from the box, which now started opening on its own. At one point, when Emily approached the box, her eyes turned completely white, giving her a demonic appearance. However, when her father entered the room, she instantly returned to normal. During breakfast, Emily, Clyde, and Emma sat together. Emily began eating aggressively, banging her fork loudly on the plate. When Clyde tried to calm her down, Emily suddenly stabbed him in the hand with the fork, causing a severe injury. Emily's disturbing transformation had begun, and the cursed box seemed to be at the center of it all. Clyde's hand bled from the injury, but the very next moment, Emily apologized profusely, claiming it was a mistake. Clyde, visibly shaken, sent Emily to her room. Later, Emma was shown heading toward the bathroom, but suddenly, the cursed box opened on its own, releasing a swarm of insects and spiders. The infestation was so overwhelming that the entire house was filled with them. Terrified, Emma screamed loudly, prompting Clyde to rush to her aid. Clyde soon discovered that all the insects were originating from Emily's room. When he entered, he found Emily sitting in front of the open box. Acting quickly, Clyde shut the box and pulled Emily away. The next day, pest control was called to address the issue, but Clyde couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong with his daughter. Stephanie, his ex-wife, also arrived and dismissed the incident, suggesting the insects might have been migrating and accidentally entered the house. Meanwhile, Emily repeatedly insisted to her father that the box must remain safe and unharmed because it was her favorite. Her fixation on the box deeply troubled Clyde. Determined to uncover the truth, Clyde decided to open the box that night. Inside, he found inscriptions in an unfamiliar language that seemed like dark incantations. Elsewhere, Emily began experiencing something horrifying. She felt as though something was stuck in her throat. Shining a flashlight down her throat, she was horrified to see a finger emerging from within. Overwhelmed with fear, Emily's terror only grew. The next day at school, Emily faced another disturbing incident. A boy began teasing her and stole her belongings. Enraged, Emily revealed that the box was inside her bag, which the boy had taken. She furiously snatched the bag back and slapped the boy multiple times in a fit of anger. Despite efforts by the school staff to intervene, Emily couldn't be restrained. The matter escalated to the principal, who called her parents to inform them about her drastic behavioral changes. Emily's descent into darkness was becoming more evident, leaving Clyde increasingly alarmed about the mysterious and sinister connection between his daughter and the cursed box. Emily became increasingly isolated and stopped speaking much with anyone. It was revealed that her teachers had confiscated the box and decided never to return it to her. This deeply upset Emily. One teacher, curious about the mysterious box, decided to inspect it. However, the moment she touched it, she was levitated into the air, as though attacked by an unseen force. Multiple injuries appeared on her body, leading to her gruesome death right there. News of the incident spread quickly, but Emily remained fixated on the box. She begged her father, Clyde, to get it back for her, saying she couldn't live without it. Clyde, now increasingly wary of the box, began to realize that it was the cause of Emily's alarming changes in behavior. Out of desperation, Clyde took the box and disposed of it far away. When Emily discovered what her father had done, she became enraged. She lashed out at him, yelling hurtful things no child would typically say to a parent. Her anger escalated to the point where she began claiming that someone was trying to hurt her. When Clyde arrived to check on her, she pretended that it was he who had attacked her. When Emma entered the room, Emily accused their father of hitting her. Clyde was shocked and confused, knowing he had done no such thing. However, the situation spiraled further when Stephanie, Emily's mother, learned of the incident. Using the allegations to her advantage, Stephanie filed a request in court, claiming that Clyde had physically harmed their children and was unfit to care for them. As a result, Emily and Emma were taken to live with Stephanie. Stephanie had moved on and was now settled with her boyfriend. However, neither Stephanie nor her boyfriend had any idea that Emily was no longer herself. Her body had become a vessel for a sinister demonic entity that wouldn't hesitate to harm anyone in its path. While living with her mother and stepfather, Emily's behavior grew more erratic. Her face would contort into strange, unnatural shapes, as though something inside her was trying to break free. Emily openly insulted and demeaned her stepfather, showing no respect for him. Meanwhile, Clyde's suspicions about the cursed box solidified further. He became determined to uncover its dark secrets and save his daughter from the grip of whatever evil had taken hold of her. Clyde, desperate to save Emily, took the box to a renowned professor he knew, hoping to learn more about it. The professor, upon examining the box, was visibly shocked. He explained that the box was an ancient artifact, hundreds of years old, and the inscriptions on it were written in an archaic language. When Clyde urged him to provide answers, the professor revealed the chilling truth. The inscriptions referred to the word Dybbuk, which is associated with malevolent spirits. In ancient traditions, such spirits were trapped inside objects like this box, and opening it would release the entity, allowing it to possess the person who touched it. The professor warned Clyde that the spirit had likely taken control of Emily. If not dealt with soon, the possessed individual would either die or fall into a permanent vegetative state. Determined to save his daughter, Clyde immediately went to Stephanie's house, where Emily was staying. He began chanting the rituals given to him by the professor. However, Emily suddenly opened her eyes in a terrifying manner, and with a simple gesture, the book containing the chants was flung across the room. Clyde was left stunned, unsure of how this was even possible. The commotion brought Stephanie into the room. She, unaware of the true danger, ordered Clyde to leave, reminding him that the court had prohibited him from seeing the children. However, Clyde knew he couldn't stand by and do nothing. He had to help Emily, no matter the consequences. Seeking alternative help, Clyde approached a man named Secker, whose family was deeply connected to ritualistic and spiritual practices. Upon hearing Clyde's story, Secker agreed to take him to his father-in-law and other elders in their community. These individuals had experience dealing with malevolent entities. When Clyde placed the cursed box in front of them, the group collectively stepped back, visibly afraid of its power. Their leader cautiously asked Clyde who had opened the box. When Clyde admitted that his daughter, Emily, had done so, the group was alarmed. They explained that the box contained a dangerous spirit, one of the most malevolent of its kind, and its release posed a grave threat. Despite their fear, the leader decided to help Clyde. He informed him that an exorcism-like ritual would be required to expel the Dybbuk from Emily. However, the process would be extremely risky for everyone involved, including Emily herself. Armed with this knowledge, Clyde prepared himself for the ultimate battle to save his daughter from the clutches of the evil spirit. The spirit enters the body of the person who opens the box and possesses them. There are several stages through which the demon gradually takes full control of the victim's body. The victim starts experiencing visions and feels as though someone else is present inside them. These same things were happening to Emily, meaning the demon was getting very close to completely possessing her. Once the demon takes full control, there would be no way to save her. The only way to stop the demon is to discover its name and command it to return to the box. However, this was not easy. Clyde did not know the demon's name and kept requesting help from the ritual experts. However, they refused to perform any exorcism, citing that it could be illegal without proper investigation. They even asked Clyde to leave. As Clyde was leaving, a man named Shacker offered to help. He said that the first step would be to discover the demon's name, and only then could they save Emily. Meanwhile, Emily's condition was worsening as the demon inside her began to dominate. She started behaving like an animal, even eating raw meat. Stephanie, seeing this with her own eyes, became terrified and couldn't believe what was happening. At one point, the demon inside Emily even tortured Stephanie's boyfriend. Blood poured out of his mouth, and his teeth were broken. Horrified, he fled and never returned. Emily's condition kept deteriorating. Clyde and Shacker continued their investigation and eventually broke a small mirror attached to the box, revealing the demon's name. This discovery was their biggest breakthrough. Without delay, they rushed to Emily, who had been admitted to the hospital. Her condition was critical. Shacker suggested performing the exorcism there itself. Clyde, Stephanie, and her sister agreed to this plan. And now was the beginning of Emily Rose's exorcism, a case considered the most significant and dangerous in the world of spirits and possession. Shacker instructed everyone involved to place an important personal item, such as a ring, watch, or anything of value, into the box as a form of sacrifice to help weaken the demon. Everyone complied, contributing their items. Emily was then transferred to a physical room, a morgue, which had plenty of space and was deemed perfect for performing the ritual. Shacker and Clyde began chanting the ancient incantations meant to summon and confront the demon. Soon, the presence of the demon within Emily became apparent as her behavior turned violent. Emily's eyes turned completely white, and her physical speed and strength surged unnaturally. To everyone's horror, multiple voices emanated from Emily simultaneously, indicating that the spirit possessing her was not a single entity but a combination of many spirits. Anyone who approached Emily was thrown violently across the room by her superhuman strength. Despite this, Clyde persisted, calling out the demon's name in an attempt to command it back into the box. Just as Clyde was making progress, the demon fled Emily's body and escaped deeper into the morgue, seeking refuge in the darkness. The morgue was pitch black, and the atmosphere was terrifying, but Clyde, determined to save his daughter, pursued the demon without hesitation. He continued chanting the demon's name, weakening its powers further. Gradually, the demonic presence inside Emily subsided, and the spirit was forced out of her body entirely. As Clyde held his fragile and unconscious daughter, Stephanie and Emma arrived at the scene. However, Shacker grew suspicious, realizing that the demon wouldn't leave so easily. He voiced his concerns, suspecting that the spirit might have transferred itself to another body nearby. To everyone's shock, it was revealed that the demon had entered Clyde's body, attempting to possess him next. After Emily, Clyde was the next person who had directly touched the cursed box, making him the demon's new target. Shacker had realized the gravity of the situation, so he warned everyone to stay away from Clyde. The spirit had fully possessed Clyde, torturing him relentlessly. Clyde, now understanding what his daughter must have gone through, struggled intensely as the spirit inside him caused unbearable pain. Desperate to fight back, Clyde began reciting the ancient incantations with Shacker. Shacker, guided by his family's spiritual mentors, spoke the demon's name with a pure heart. His sincerity and peaceful intentions made the incantations effective, as the demon began to weaken. Clyde's body went limp, and through his mouth, the horrifying spirit slowly began to emerge. First, a creepy hand appeared, followed by its entire, grotesque form. Following commands, the spirit returned to the cursed box. Clyde's life was saved by mere moments, as the spirit's power was at its peak. The box was hastily sealed, trapping the dangerous spirit inside once more. Shacker decided to take the box far away, either burying it deep in the ground or casting it into the sea to ensure the spirit would never be freed again. However, as fate would have it, the destiny of every spirit is uncertain. While driving along the road, Shacker was struck by a passing truck in a fatal accident. The cursed box was found at the scene, and eerie voices began to emerge from within, drawing anyone nearby towards it. The cycle was bound to repeat. If someone else were to open the box, the cursed spirit would possess them, causing them the same torment as Emily Rose. Thus, this haunting story comes to a chilling end.